Hello there, amazing viewers and subscribers, and welcome to a brand new Doctor Who video for today. So for this Doctor Who video, I'm going to be talking about ranking every single season and series of Doctor Who from 1963 down to 2023, because we are now into the last two places. So I thought first and second place whap into this video, then everyone knows how I enjoy every single season from 39th place down to the first place. So let's dive into it, shall we? So in second place of this, I have to put season 26. Season 26, it is the best season out of the 1980s in general. I absolutely love this season. It was at number one. It was at number one for a very long time until early last year when I rewatched the season that's in first place. And that's why that season kind of took over first place above this one, and this one's kind of moved down one. Season 26, it was broadcast from the 6th of September to the 6th of December 1989, having 14 episodes into 4 stories. We have one returning villain, aka Anthony Ainley, playing the Master in the final story of Survival, which is Anthony Ainley's best performance as the Master. This is why I really love Anthony Ainley's Master. And of course, we do have other stories like Battlefield, Ghostlight, and the all-time epic McCoy story, and my all-time favourite McCoy story, The Curse of Fenric. Now, I have talked about The Curse of Fenric so much, so I'm not going to dive in a bit into that episode, into that 4-part story, because I kind of need to talk about the other 3 stories, because on this channel I have spoken so many times how I absolutely love The Curse of Fenric. So let's talk about Battlefield. Now, to me, this is definitely the weak story of the season. Battlefield is, because it does play around with time travel and the fact that the Doctor in his future does kind of sit down King Arthur in another part of another dimension war. We really need to see this on screen, so I'm kind of hoping that at some point in the future we do see the events of Battlefield that takes place in Battlefield takes place with a future Doctor, so the Doctor knows what he's doing when it comes to the events of Battlefield. Technically he doesn't. I have to admit, I really do enjoy Battlefield. I do like Maud Gonne. She's an absolutely interesting villain. This is the last time we ever have Nicholas Courtney in Doctor Who plays the Brigadier, because unfortunately he never returned to the revival with Eccleston or David Tennant, but he did return for the Sarah Jane Adventures, which is his last ever appearance as the Brigadier, because sadly he passes away in 2011. This is Nicholas Courtney's very last appearance in a Doctor Who story as the Brigadier, as he teams up with the 7th Doctor, bringing back the 3rd Doctor's automobile, Bessie. And this story is absolutely brilliant. I do enjoy it. It is definitely the weak link, but it's not as bad as some other McCoy story, like Delta and the Barrowman, which is my least favourite McCoy story. Then, of course, we jump into Ghostlight. So, where are we going in Ghostlight? Well, we go to Perivale. The Doctor takes Ace to this haunted house where she nearly broke into... Well, basically, she did actually break into it back in the early 80s. And, of course, Ace kind of had something terrifying happen to her, and the Doctor kind of wants to explain. So, again, this is where the Doctor really does start to manipulate Ace in this story, from this story onwards. Because I really like the way how Ace is there screaming at the Doctor saying, "This is Perivale." And, of course, the Doctor goes, "We all in the universe have our own terrors to face. Yeah, but I face mine on my terms." This is a great 3-part story. The music by Mark Platt, it is absolutely creepy as how. It's got some creepy tunes in there. It's absolutely brilliant, and it is Doctor Who at the full max. Then, of course, the next story is actually, as I said, it is The Curse of Fenric, which I've got a poster behind me, as you can probably see. Now, this story, I have said on my channel so many times, I just absolutely love this story, because this brings in Fenric, and, of course, we do find out more of Ace's backstory, how she ends up on Ice World in Dragonfire, and the fact that it's basically a paradox story, because Ace actually helps her mother try escape from these events. Now, this story is set in World War II, where we got the Brits, we have some Russians breaking in, where they're kind of oddly placed. I think we do have a German character in here as well, basically pretends to be an Englishman. The Heaver Falls, I absolutely love their design. If I was going to say what's my favourite kind of sea-like creatures coming out of the sea, it's got to be the Heaver Falls, with the Sea Devils in second place, because I really love the way how the Heaver Falls just kind of come out. And when you don't see what happens, because you kind of got this big epic like dinosaur creature in the water, and the music in it, it's just really, really creepy and atmospheric. And these two women that go swimming, and they think they're really clever and stuff, and this mist comes down and disappears. They come out as like vampire creatures, and you have this one soldier there, and they're like, yes, join us, come into the water. And of course a bunch of heavy takes over him and drains his blood, and he's under the water. I absolutely do love this story. It's absolutely brilliant. It's a epic 3-part story of the Curse of Fenric. 3 or 4 parts. I think it's a 4-parter. And I think it is actually generally a 4-part. It's been a while since I watched the story, but I remember so much of the plot. It's absolutely brilliant and epic, and I really do love the Curse of Fenric. Then of course the final story of this season is of course Survival. Now Survival, it is a brilliant story. I absolutely do love Survival. Now the Doctor goes to Perivale, where Ace kind of wants to see where her friends are up to and everything. And one by one, her friends have been disappearing. And we find out it's because of these transparent alien cats that can jump from one place to another. And of course, it brings out the cheetah people riding horses. Now, the cheetah people are basically being controlled by the Master, who's being taken over by the cheetah virus. And of course, we do have that epic line where the Doctor pulls his umbrella out and the Master's just sitting there and goes, "Why, Doctor, what an unexpected pleasure." I really do like that cliffhanger. I do like the way how McCoy's just there standing about when you kind of got these people attacking the cheetah people and everything. It's just a really great story. So yeah, that's a bit about season 26. So that's season 26 for me, and why it's in second place. So my all-time favourite season of Doctor Who in general, it's got to be season 13, which was actually broadcast from the 30th of August 1975 up to the 6th of March 1976. It stars Tom Baker as the 4th Doctor. Yes, obviously it's going to be Tom Baker season. That's my all-time favourite season. It is Elizabeth Sladen's 3rd season as Sarah Jane Smith. Now this story, this whole season is absolutely fantastic. It's brilliant. It's got some great moments. So we have some cracking stories in this, like Tale of the Saigons, Planet of Evil, The Pyramids of Mars, The Android Invasion, The Brain of Morbius, and The Seeds of Doom. So we've got 6 incredible stories spread out into different parts of this season. So let's dive into it. Tale of the Saigons. Now, this is the first time Doctor Who did something in the 70s with shape-shifting aliens. They did this back in the 60s with the chameleons in the faceless ones. Now, I really do like the Saigons. They're absolutely brilliant and stuff. And the way they literally shapeshifted to Harry to try and get that device the Doctor knows about them watching, and the bugs devices. I absolutely do like this one. I do like the fact they kind of have a Skeletor. Basically, it is actually the Loch Ness Monster being controlled by the Saigons. So really, the Loch Ness Monster is actually an alien creature brought from the Saigon planet, which was lost in a war. And then we find out later on in the 50th anniversary, it's because of the Time War. So, you know, which is kind of good. They brought the Time War to the Saigon story, because we know the Saigons lost their home planet and were trying to find a new home, which is why they wanted Earth. I really do like that one. Planet of Evil, I have to admit, this is a very good Jekyll and Hyde story. It's very, very Jekyll and Hyde because it is antimatter creatures. No, it's not Omega's world of antimatter from the 3 Doctors. It is literally a planet that's on the edge of our universe going into an antimatter creature. And it literally does this kind of creepy sounds. And once it gets you, your bones, like your whole body disappears, and then it reappears as bones lying on the ground. And it really is creepy, and it's just a brilliant story. The next story of that is, of course, my favourite story of the season, Pyramids of Mars. This story is absolutely brilliant. This is my favourite story out of season 13 in general, because we have Marcus Scarman basically in Egypt looking for the tomb of Sutekh. But now Sutekh, he is an alien creature trapped in a kind of bubbly pyramid thing in between Mars and Earth. Now, of course, we have robot mummies in this story. Tom Baker is really, really great in this one, because I really love that line where he's there talking to Sarah Jane, and he's there going, "I'm not a human being. Oh, I know you're a Time Lord. You don't understand the probations. I'm not a human being. I can walk in eternity. Yes, I really do like that speech between the Doctor. And of course, when he takes Sarah Jane to an ultimate planet Earth in 1980 and they open the door and you can see the barbaric that Sutekh is going to do to the entire planet, which is one of the reasons why I love this story. Android Invasion, not my favourite story of the season. It is definitely the weak story of the season. I have to admit, it is definitely the weak one. Now, I do like the whole plot of the Android Invasion. It's just not really acted. It's not like directed pretty well as other stories from season 13. I have to admit, this story is kind of good. The Android Invasion, I love the fact we're on a spaceship, the TARDIS materializes, and of course, when Sarah Jane puts the key into the TARDIS dematerializes, and of course, Doctor kind of gets lured by a robot Sarah, and he goes, "These aren't real trees, and you're not the real Sarah." And of course, when you see Tom get hold of the robot Sarah, and he literally shakes it and goes, "What have you done with the real Sarah?" And then of course she rolls over, and you just see the android part of her face. I have to admit, this story this is the last proper unit story for this season, apart from a few cameos in the Seas of Death. This is literally the last proper unit story, because they do come into it at the end of part 4, I have to admit, which is, you know, okay. And then of course we have my second favourite story of the season, The Brain of Morbius. So the TARDIS is being drawn to the planet Khan by the Time Lords, where this evil scientist has got the brain of an evil Time Lord known as Morbius. And of course we do meet the Sisterhood of Khan. The Doctor does kind of die in this one because he has a mind battle with Morbius. You do see all these other faces. Now, I always thought these faces were Morbius's faces, but it turns out they're not Morbius faces. It turns out they are the Doctor's past incarnations, Priya Hartnell. Basically, the whole Timeless Child story arc plot, which is very, very complicated for me to try and explain the whole Timeless Child story arc, because I still can't get my head around it. I don't know how many faces the Doctor's had Priya Hartnell. So I'm trying to work out how many faces the Doctor's actually had, so I can actually do a video talking about the Timeless Child Doctors, not the actual main Doctors. I'm going to class them as different. When I say the main Doctors, I mean from Hartnell down to Ncuti Gatwa. They're the main Doctors to me, where I think the Timeless Child Doctors is the Morbius ones, the Fugitive Doctor, and of course all the other ones we see as childs. I really do like this story. It's absolutely brilliant and fantastic. It's very, very horror-graphic story, which is just absolutely brilliant. Why I really want this season to come out on Blu-ray.
Power off.
And then, of course, we have the final story of the season, The Seeds of Doom. Now, this has got to be my third favourite story of the season, because we have one of my favourite 70 alien creatures in this one, aka the Krynoids, the little alien seed pods. Once they break open, they can take over a human body, because it wraps around them, it gets into the blood cells, it can actually eat a human alive and mutate it into a proper Krynoid, which is the one thing I really love when Doctor Who does that kind of horrifying stories where you just see people get taken over. And this one's actually a live alien plant that literally burrows into the people's skins and into the blood and mutates them into Krynoids. I have to love this one. Now, Tom Baker and Elizabeth Sladen is absolutely brilliant. Now, there is a thing that most people don't know about this story. This was actually supposed to be Elizabeth Sladen's last appearance as Sarah Jane Smith, because she was going to leave at the end of this season, but they ended up talking her into staying for the next season, season 14, until The Hand of Fear. So they promised her 2 other stories, and I really think if she was going to leave at this point, I would have been happy with the story, because she nearly gets eaten by a Krynoid until the Doctor breaks down the wall and basically just saves her. Yeah, I really do enjoy the story. So that is it for this video, and the last ever episode in my series of ranking every single Doctor Who season and series from 1963 down to 2023. So as you know, second place we have season 26, and in first place we have season 13. What do you think of these 2 seasons? Let me know in the comments. Please do like, comment, share, and I just want to say a thank you to everybody that has stayed on my channel watching this series grow on from 39th place up to the first place, which is basically this video, because it's second and first place. So thank you for watching. Please do like, comment, share, and join me for some more Doctor Who content during the next week. Now, tomorrow there is going to be another Star Trek video on Star Trek Sunday, where I'm going to be talking about the final season of Star Trek Picard. and what I personally think of it and what generally do I love about it, because to me it's the best season of Star Trek Picard. So yeah, join me tomorrow for that, and then of course join me for the rest of the week for more awesome Doctor Who content. Thank you for watching, and stay absolutely, truly, and epic fans of subscribers that you all are. You all are absolutely amazing. So thank you to everybody for all their help to my channel, supporting it by subscribing, sharing it onto Facebook groups. I know some of you have. And also just thank you for being absolutely amazing. You all are. And join me tomorrow for Star Trek Sunday.